Ladies and gents, it's Friday. It's me. It's you. It's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the Times this morning, who run with yesterday's reports that a Reform campaigner had suggested refugees should be used for target practice. And this is just the latest embarrassment for Reform, who it honestly feels like they can't go longer than 48 hours without one of their campaigners or candidates being exposed as a violent racist. But don't let that put you off voting for them, because as Farage, as Richard Tice are always at pains to point out, they are not a far-right party, guys. Which must have come as a shock to these guys when they went skipping onto the campaign bus, leather-clad in Hugo Boss. Sometimes I feel sorry for Reform supporters, you know, Nigel Farage fans. Like, they have no understanding of the national debt. Like, that's why taxes are so high. And instead, they believe that the reason their taxes are so high is just because Rishi Sunak is ideologically a con-socialist. You know, I truly feel sorry for them, because in their minds, like, here's how it works: is Farage becomes Prime Minister, he and Tice slash taxes radically, that puts more money in my pocket, plus it's good for the economy. It'll be just like the 80s when Thatcher slashed taxes and and then we got into that boom kind of yuppie period. It'll be just like the 80s when we basically didn't even have a national debt. That's why she was able to slash the taxes. But for these people, they're like, yeah, it's all so simple. So I feel pity for them intellectually, absolutely I do. But I also feel sorry for them in a similar capacity to how I felt sorry for left-wing activists when Russell Brand was on top of a double-decker bus screaming into his megaphone. Do you remember that period when he was like railing against Murdoch's influence on the journo-political sphere, tax avoidance, corporate tax avoidance he was big on also. And I remember looking at that footage and going like, there are cases to be made to rail against all of this stuff. I want press regulation. I want corporate tax avoidance addressed. Obviously I do. But you're making it so much harder for anyone to have a serious conversation about this. And it must be the same or similar for neo-Thatcherite centre-right conservatives when they get on the Reform bus, you know, and they come out with all the expected attributes, the bullet points of centre-right ideology. We want to be tough on crime. You know, we're not ruling out a return of capital punishment. Let's just discuss it. Life outside of the EU and low tax idea. I'm sorry, what's this? I said shoot the bloody foreigners! Reinvade the colonies! Oh my God, we were so close to getting through 1 week without one of these clouds. Anyway, somewhat predictably, Reform have now distanced themselves from one campaigner. They've deselected another candidate. They've also suggested one guy is no longer fit to stand for Reform because of his history of being associated with the BNP. Although, as one Twitter user pointed out yesterday, I'm not entirely sure why, when if you look back at the BNP's 2010 manifesto, like it's basically Reform. It's all like, we're better off outside of Europe, completely leave the EU, deport the foreigners, halt immigration, trash foreign aid. It's full of climate science denial, get rid of diversity and inclusivity initiatives. Like, I imagine Tice talking to Farage. Like, I don't know what we're going to do about this candidate. He's economically illiterate and really racist. And then Farage is like, I don't know what we're going to do. Promote him? Over to the Telegraph now. Farage is a Putin appeaser, says Sunak. This is the latest attack line, nay, tourniquet, that CCHQ are attempting to wrap around the wound to stop the bleeding of floating Conservative voters moving aggressively to Reform. The idea that Farage, whose Brexit project was largely believed to have gotten over the line thanks to Russian interference in the referendum campaigns, is not just a beneficiary, but an apologist, a veritable dictator placator. That is basically what they're saying here. They're saying, don't vote Reform. Please don't split the right vote, because look over there, Nigel Farage, who is a beneficiary of Putin's mischief, he can't even bring himself to criticise him. But as ever with any Tory attack lines in this general election campaign, the whole thing falls apart before you can say Russia report, or Tory Brexit, or Lebedev. Over to the Express now. BBC paid TV audience to appear at leaders' debate. Oh, I don't care. I mean, just to remove the politics from this for a moment, they should pay audiences to come in and watch whatever it is that they're looking to broadcast. Because have you ever been to a TV studio and watch them actually make a program? Like, you think it's going to be really entertaining? Oh, yeah, we're all sitting here and we're ready to watch the show. It's nothing like that. It's just watching Anne Robinson say the same thing 15 times, trying to nail it. If members of the general public are good enough to give up their free time for hours while producers and runners and lighting people move cameras from this side to that side oh, we're just going to try it from a different angle over here. Say it again, Anne. The least you could do is pay their fucking train fare. Like, if I wanted to watch somebody stutter and slur the same thing again and again, pathetically trying to convince the people at home that he could string a sentence together, I would hide in a bush and watch that Aid Thompson guy trying to record a paper review. It's time for an alternative raper review. Oh, fuck, I fucked it. I mean, the funny thing about this is that the Express are bemoaning a publicly funded BBC that they see as too left-wing, paying audience members to come in and watch the debate as though they're stacking the deck. Whereas I see a headline like this and I'm like, oh, no, this is a reflection of how uninspiring, how abysmal this campaign has gotten. How disinterested people are in our political leaders that you literally have to pay them to sit there and watch it.
I wish somebody would pay you to shut up for a bit.